Yeah, well, we're still.
What?
Oh, we're live. Hello.
Ahoy.
No reason I wouldn't share the intro.
Oh well, but we're live. Hello.
Well, that's annoying.
It wasn't like this in rehearsals.
That is really annoying, actually. What's even more
Yeah.
annoying is now the guys are streaming underneath my window.
Great start. 1 minute in.
That's actually really annoying.
Anyway, we're here. So, hello world. If just to prove we are here, can somebody let us know we're here?
StreamYard are stupid. I'm going to have to find a different way of streaming now. I'm not having that. That's not fair because that's always been free, doing the intros and stuff.
Are they charging for it now? Are they?
Yeah, but they didn't send me an email telling me.
Nasty people.
The videos are still there.
Boy.
They've just decided that now you got to upgrade to see them, to play them.
Sounds like
I don't
someone's
know.
in for a strongly worded email.
Yes.
Yes.
A letter from my MP.
Money
Anyway.
grab bastards. Anyway. No more intros for now. That's annoying. It just doesn't feel right without the intro, does it?
Never mind.
It's a good thing I stopped talking so much rubbish.
Yeah, it's a good job. Gary stopped making funny noises as well.
Means I can't do my little dance.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you two?
I'm very well. How are you, Timmy?
I'm also very well. Followed Gary's lead and got a cup of coffee right before we started, so
So did I.
good to go.
Well, I have a delivery coming during the stream.
Ooh. What you got?
My new airbrush.
Ooh. Cheeky.
What'd you get?
A gallery trigger one. Because
Nice.
the old fingers are struggling with the other airbrush. I was struggling with my airbrush on Saturday morning, and I was in the clubhouse in Friends of Models Heroes Discord, and my airbrush was not spraying, and I couldn't understand why. And I stripped it apart.
Oop.
I cleaned it, stripped it apart, still wouldn't work. Cleaned it, stripped it apart. Turns out you need to turn your compressor on.
Did you realise that after you'd bought the new one?
No, I bought the new one anyway because
Yeah.
I have issues.
We know. We see them on a regular basis.
I have to spray like that
Okay.
as opposed to like that because I can't.
It would be a bit challenging, yeah.
So I'm going for the
Oh, pistol grip.
see how that goes.
Yeah, so it's nice to see Tim's got his fiddling gloves on.
Yeah. I wish I'd put mine on now because I've just got super glue all over my hands.
Yeah, see?
Tim hasn't even done any
He's
modelling yet.
dorks until it isn't.
I've been busy this morning. Look, I've done my F-35 weapons bays.
Yeah, nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, the
And
thing is, Tim hasn't even done any modelling, and he's just sat there wearing the gloves.
I have to.
I've just ballsed up my F-35 engine intake. Hello, John.
Hey, John. John, StreamYard aren't letting me do intros anymore.
He just went live. He went, let's go. And we went, bing, we're here.
I'm not happy about it.
I can understand. Oh. Hello, Peter Oxley down the bottom corner with the black gloves. Very nice.
I was just saying, PPE is for dorks until it's not. So, you know,
PPE is
Gary's
for-
already had super glue on his fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
PPE is for dorks until you get super glue over your fingers.
So you think there's been an update, Mikey? They won't let you play intros.
Yeah, apparently now you can only use a sample intro. If you want to use your own, then you got to upgrade and pay monthly. But they want like £30 a month.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, for something that was free last week.
Yeah.
They can shove it up their ass.
Yep.
Thanks, Dharma.
Yeah. Anyway, on with the comments.
Yay!
Julie says, "Oi, Gary, laugh out loud. Second comment, grumble. Doubt I'll be here much as my brother and niece are visiting until Thursday." Nice.
Oh.
Hope they have a good day and you don't torture them too much with your heathen ways. GM says, "Julian, good day, mate. Get your family to join in. The more the merrier. Haha. Drive the bearded one crazy. Hee. Nothing drives me crazy except from corporations trying to make money out of me." GM says, "Have been reviewing podcasts from before I joined. There was a comment that you and Hagrid should host a show. Bring in Bob and me. Oh, the chaos we could do." That's true. GM says, "My wife borrowed my phone early Saturday. When I returned, I found our apartment full of people laughing themselves silly at the BBC Friday podcast. The subtitles had their own weird sayings.
Oh my god!
As long as they lube and subscribe."
Does that mean we're big in Korea now?
Yeah, we're building a career in Korea. Bob says, "Many apologies to Mr. M, but I succumbed to another beast. Last one, I promise."
Oh dear.
Bob says, "Maybe." GM says, Gary Morris says, "Morning troops, here we go. Another week of Plastic Fantastic." And new airbrush arriving today, possibly during the stream. Very good, Gary.
But she doesn't know.
Marion!
She's not in. She's not in. That's why I'm hoping it comes soon.
Scott says, "Good day, everyone." Hello, Scott.
Hi, Scotty.
Oi, oi.
Bob says, "Question for all apartment dwellers. Why are they called apartments when they are all stacked together?" Good point. Good point. Should be called compartments rather than apartments. Yeah. Gary Morris says, "In the UK, a block of flats."
And they're
Very
not flat.
No. Well, they are once, the building work collapses and things. Well, the sort of pile of rubble and human shape.
So they're not actually flat, are they? Because like that.
GM says, "I nominate Bobby for the leader of the alternative group chat and a metal box to lock up his credit card."
Seconded.
Yeah. Bob says, "Haha, fooled a Gary. I don't have a credit card. Got in too much trouble when I did. I can believe it."
I've got a credit card and it's always getting me in trouble.
And he says, "I have a debit card. Can't spend it if it isn't there." Yeah. GM says, good question. Well, we have 5 apartments here next to each other, but separated by solid concrete walls. Apartments. Maybe. Maybe. Bob, of course, you can get carried away here there too. Took my daughter into a car dealership for her birthday. Salesman concerned when I didn't want finance, just paid on card. Bloody hell.
That happened to me as well when I bought my wife's car when I'd not long left the Air Force. I'd got myself a C5 and she wanted a C2, and it was $6,000 or something at the time. It shows how long ago that was. We just paid with a debit card, and they didn't know what to do. Thank God I didn't go in with cash.
GM says, "Someone is splitting hairs here. Credit, debit, not much difference, I think. There's a difference in the way they work."
Yeah. Debit cards, if it's not in your bank, you can't use it.
No, sir.
Bob says, "Brand new car. Dealer also shocked when I turned up a couple of days later with a personalized plate certificate." Why doesn't that surprise me with Bob? Bob says, "Credit card debt to get into and interest to pay. A lot sometimes. Debit card, no debt or interest. Why is debit card almost same spelling as debt?" Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you fit strand based on a license plate?
They move sideways.
It'd have to be like 5,
Strand and then BT or something.
yeah, BST or something.
Yeah.
STN BST.
Yeah.
Yeah, abbreviate it. Thought for the day. There you go. That's got the minds whirring.
GM says, Bobby salesmen don't make much of a return on paying in cash. I had the same when I bought my cars for daughters. It irks them. Yeah. Bob says, hee hee, fun innit? Duke, good day, all you beautiful people. Hello, Duke.
Hi, Duke.
GM, Bobby, financial garbage talk, corporate bull talk. Yes. Bob, same when I bought my house, solicitor kept wanting my mortgage broker. Paid with bank transfer, no mortgage. Makes you wonder if all money operatives are interlinked crooks.
Yes.
I think they're more just amazed that you bought an entire house on just on your debit card.
And solicitors, the only people put on this earth to slow up the process of selling and buying a house.
Yeah. James says, good day, Duke, and all you fabulous people. Hello. Bob, forgot being a nearly newbie. Who is the fox on the left? It's Mal, but he's busy at the minute moving house and stuff.
Is he moving?
Well, he was packing to move, wasn't he?
Was he? I didn't even know he'd sold.
I don't know. Not sure.
They've got they had a house ready for years. They've just been waiting for the person that was in there to move out.
Oh, right.
Something like that. GM says, or move out or die or something. But GM says, Bobby, on Judgment Day, all the money grabbers, legal wankers, politicians will be passing blue lights out of their collective bottoms. Haha. Yeah. Yes. They'll all pay the price eventually. Paul says, g'day, folks. Daphne, my wife, would like to thank you one and all for the kind things you said. Oh, most welcome, Daphne. Hope you're feeling better.
I hope you're feeling better, yeah.
Duke says, g'day, Paul. I hope that she's feeling a lot better. GM says, g'day, Mr. Morris, Mr. Paul. Hope you are well. Paul says, Duke, she is, but the doc said it'll be 6 months or so before it clears. Yeah, it takes ages. Paul says, good day to Mr. Gary. David says, morning, afternoon, evening, all of whichever one is best for you. There we go. GM says, Paul, where are you located? Is it Western Australia? Paul says, Gary, we live in a small town called Armadale, about 35 kilometres from Perth. It was settled by the Scots in 1850. Nice. Bob says, Armadale, is that like a ground-based Airedale? I know. Shut up, Bob. Paul, the face palm. GM says, thanks, Paul. I've been in Perth many times, but never heard of Armadale near Perth. Most visits were along northern Perth to see RAF friends.
We just say RAF here. We don't have to sort of split the difference between RAF and RAAF because there's not many of you guys here.
There's 2 A's, not one. RAF.
Yes, RAF.
Kevin says, good day, everyone.
Good day, Kevin.
Paul says, we are south of Perth, about 20,000 or so population. There you go. Mm-hmm. GM says, Bobby, armoured hail bales? If you must know. Laugh out loud. Okay. Matt says, afternoon, folks. Hello, Matt. I got a lovely message off Matt, actually, this weekend. His parcel arrived, and I got a lovely message saying thank you. So, thank you, Matt. It's nice.
Nice.
GM says, hello, with his thumb up, someone.
Hello.
John Thompson says, Bodadar Mikey, Bodadar John. How are you doing, buddy? Tiff says, oh, wow, lots of comments for Mikey to go through. Ha, 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 ha. Very funny, Modest. You didn't encourage it at all.
We could do the rounds again if you like, if you want to have a bit of a talking break.
It's all right, nearly through them now. Oh, wait, no.
You're not.
No, there's quite a few. Okay. Yeah, go on. Go on, Gary.
Joe says, good morning, afternoon, evening to all. Hopefully a good start to a good week. I'm looking forward to this week for some reason, and I don't know why.
I was having a good start until they stopped letting me use my bloody intros. So I spent hours working on. Shut the fuck up, Gary. Timbo.
Robert says, variety is the spice of no intro.
That's Bob. Bobbing along.
Mm-hmm.
The best Tiff voice.
Tiff says, yes. No, I don't think I could do it. I'd just say, yes, y'all are here. I'm just like, I don't know how to do a Tiff voice. I couldn't do the accent even.
Just do Geordie. It's close enough.
Flummoxing.
Joe says upgrades and, of course, upcharges. Yeah.
Scott's model says the countdown's still free.
Yeah, but the countdown's shit.
Says, hang on, they're not letting you play intros at all anymore.
No.
Wow. We're up to the start time with all the comments.
Yeah. I said, oh, stop jumping, chat, you stupid thing. There you go. That's John.
Oh, my go? Oh, okay. I thought I was doing the bearded veteran create saying nope, but I'll do the Tiff. Tiff says maybe time to try another streaming platform.
Yes.
I'll have
Any
to have
suggestions?
Problem is, I've got the rest of the lives programmed for the rest of the week. So I might have to
we'll just do them this week without any intro.
Yeah. I'll have to look into it. All right, Gary, put your binoculars on.
I thought it was you.
Oh, yeah. After doing all that, I'll probably disappear in a bit when my brother and niece arrive. There we go.
And Gino says, good day, everyone in chat and to the panel. Good day, Gino.
Hey, Gino.
Were those your figures I was looking at this morning? They are really good. I wish I could paint figures like that.
Yeah.
David says, morning, Mikey, Gary, Tim, and John. Morning, David.
Yeah.
Julian says, afternoon, Mikey, Gary, and evening, John and Tim.
John says super glue is actually a first aid item. It is.
It is. You're correct.
That's what it's designed for.
And Ian Ellison says, hey all, is that the GAD 68 trigger by Gallery? I have the facsimile. I found the lost part and swapped to the 0.3 needle and it works.
Oh.
I think it is that one, yeah. It's the 56.99 one.
Julian says, StreamYard seem intent on driving users away. It seems to be working. OBS beckons, I think.
The problem with OBS is getting multiple people onto it. Because I can't figure out, I've tried it before, I can't figure out how to get multiple people onto it. I can only figure out how to get one person streaming on it, which is obviously no use. But yeah, they do seem intent on it. First, they put it up from £15 a month to £30 a month, and now they're starting to charge for everything. So, yeah.
Jim says hello to our gracious hosts and to all the usual suspects in chat.
Hello, Jim.
Hello, Jim.
Tiff says there's Restream too. Julian, I use OBS for the cameras and stuff, easier to swap between. Yeah.
Yeah, did we look at Restream before?
Yeah. I've got another one that'll probably work.
Okay. Tiff says, right, got to go. I'll catch up later on. See you later, Tiff. Safe journey.
It's me again, is it? Julian says, also cargo goes on a ship, but shipments go in a car or van. English is an idiotic language at times.
Oh, I've got a war story about that. Jim says, Tim, I see you wearing your Peter Oxley gloves.
Aaronville says, hello all.
He just needs a tweed jacket now.
He's going to be a teacher, isn't he? So he's going to have one with leather arm patches on.
Oh, leather arm patches, yeah.
Aaronville says, hello all. Hello, Aaronville.
Exploring Unseen says, hey.
Exploring Unseens asks how everyone is doing.
Well, you have to do that in a Joey Tribbiani. How you doing?
How you doing? Aaronville is saying, what are you all working on today? We'll get to that very shortly. We've got about 10 comments left.
Yeah. Because apparently John's reading ahead again.
Which is probably just as well because it's planning. It's all planning. It's all planning on the
Yeah,
hoof.
that's what I was doing. Planning.
Get
So,
on with
John.
it.
Get on with it, Mikey.
Julie says, I once had a door sticker sent to me by my MP which said no unsolicited traders, etc., but also said no political canvassers.
Oh, weird.
And Julian says, who is Gary M's thumb up?
Whoever he damn well pleases.
Aussie Ian.
Tim?
Hey,
Sorry, he said Aussie Ian. I thought he was taking it.
You can tell he's new to the channel.
Ian
can't
says, evening all.
you? It's Aussie
Yeah.
Ian.
all right. And now I'll look there stunned like a mullet.
Like a
Cattle Frog.
mullet.
That's a great impression.
Yeah. So John says, did you guys like Empire of the Sun? They were amazing aircraft shown. Yeah, that footage at the end is great scene, I think. Yeah.
I've never actually seen that film all the way through. I don't know why.
Jim says, I see the standard names have been restored to chat messages. Yeah, about a week ago, mate.
Mhm.
Sandra's in. She says, hello, people. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Sandra.
Hello. Gary says, Mikey, StreamYard want to charge me $100 Australian per podcast just to watch you. No chat. The response from me is no printable here.
That's ridiculous.
But it
Wow.
rhymes with cough.
And
But,
Sandra.
Actually, yeah. Go on, read that out and I'll say what I was going to say.
Sandra says, does anyone else find this new and very stupid XP thing that YouTube have added to the streams to be really annoying and totally pointless? Also, can you turn this nonsense off? If so, how? I hate it.
I have
If you
no
want to
idea.
get rid of the nonsense, just unsubscribe.
No, shut up.
Shut up.
Hold your tongue.
It's my job.
What I was going to say was, I was thinking over the weekend, maybe all the streams that we've done, download them and make them, try and remove the audio from it and just make them into podcasts as well. So it's just audio, so I can maybe put them on Spotify if I have a Spotify account.
Well, it's a great plan until that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a Spotify account.
Oh yeah.
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 Well. Okay. Anyway,
So
What are we working on?
somebody asked the question, what are we all working on?
Gary,
All right.
we need to get you a fake beard so you fit in.
I'm not having a beard. I literally, Saturday evening, I virtually had a beard. I hadn't shaved all week, but because I had to go to church on Sunday, I shaved.
He's but an humble dwarf.
I am but a humble dwarf. So what are we working on? Well, I have started a new kit this weekend. I have started to build
A deer.
Ooh.
A female deer.
Oh,
yes, and I have worked on the weapons base.
Ooh.
nice.
Ooh.
And I have been working on the engine. Not that there's a
It
lot
doesn't
to
matter. Yeah, you no matter how you look at the model, you're not going to be able to see the inlet of the engine anyway.
That's right,
So
yeah,
it doesn't matter what you do with it.
Yeah, because I was looking at it and I was thinking, why is there two pieces of photo etch for that fan?
Yeah, you talk about the front or the back.
Well, this is at the back.
Okay. Okay, so the F-35 exhaust is actually secret. You will never see images of it online for probably years. So nobody knows what it looks like except very few people at work are on them or around them. Leave the photo etch off. You don't need it. It's not there.
Right, okay. You should have told me that about 20 minutes ago before I glued it on.
Is that the Israeli F-35?
Yeah.
You should 3D print tiny little people and make the diorama of the Iranian
The
propaganda.
Iranian one they shot down.
Yeah, and it's the size of a jumbo jet.
Dear me. Yeah, that'd be fun.
That's it.
I don't know if people have seen that. So in case people haven't seen that, I'll
You'll
change
never
my
be
camera.
big in Iran if you show that.
It's well funny.
Here we go. Let's see that. So you can see how small the people are in relation to the... Oh, you can fit, 35 people in that cockpit?
Okay, you get all of them in that cockpit.
Yeah, but the people will not fit in the buildings either. Like, look how small that van is compared to all these people here.
The regime actually released that as proof that
they did. Yeah, isn't that ridiculous? And that is not a Star of David. The whole thing is just what a government release this. It's pathetic. Yeah.
Can we move away from political shit, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's banned on this channel.
Well,
doesn't want a fatwa issued on him.
No. Julian says, I was thinking over the weekend, what have I told you about that, Mikey? I did wonder what the squeaking noise was.
Yeah. He does far too much thinking at weekends. The thing is, because there's no live streams at weekends, he's done nothing to do with him, to do for him. So
hey, I've been busy this weekend. I'll have you know. I've sprayed the Sea Fury, and I've sprayed my Land Rover that I'm going to be working on today.
This weekend, I watched the British Grand Prix.
Ooh.
I bet that was fun.
I saw the prank. It was pretty horrendous.
It was a good Grand Prix yesterday with the rain.
Was it? Did they all crash?
There were a few spins.
See, that's the only interesting bit.
Max Verstappen's.
We've got lots of comments again. John says, I love the final countdown as a boy. We used the Sea King. I think it was a NATO helicopter. Did NATO use any of the other aircraft in film? I don't know. I know we used Sea Kings because I flew in them a few times.
Well, they used Tomcats, didn't they?
NATO, not so much. So European nations, no. There's only the previously mentioned Iran and US.
David says, can't grow a beard here since my radiation treatment as it was around my neck.
Yeah. Final countdown. Wasn't that the one where they went back in time on the aircraft carrier?
Yes.
So they had F-14s fighting Zeros.
It's so much better than Top Gun, in my humble dwarf opinion.
And Kirk Douglas was the skipper.
Yeah. And Martin Sheen. It was a wonderful, wonderful film.
Sounds good. Sandra says, I don't use Spotify. I still use vinyl records when I want to listen to music. I'm guessing you youngsters in the panel don't remember those.
Oh, yes, we do.
When I was a kid, when my parents got divorced, my dad actually left a load of his vinyl, Genesis LPs and things like that, original ones. So I used to listen to them all the time.
Yeah, I had my old man had a couple of old vinyls of Poison and stuff. I remember flipping that open and seeing there was a scantily clad lady on the inside cover of a Poison album, and I think that was when the rest got his first crush.
The rest of his teenage years passed by in a blur.
Yeah.
Thanks for admitting your dad had a Poison LP. I've got some more dirt on him now.
Yeah. Nobody saw Tim come out of his room for the rest of his teenage years after that. He came out with just one massive right arm.
It took him years to work out that the long hairs were all the blokes.
like Quagmire when he discovered the internet.
BP with Baby Cake says, hello, Mikey, Gary, Tim, and John. Wave.
Hey, baby.
Matt says, I have a modelling question. Sea Fury. I've done the RAF screen. The stencil data sheet mentions scheme A and B. Does scheme C not have these stencils?
Well,
it's a good question for John.
You're doing that. Okay, so what I'm saying is it happens to be in front of me because I was just working on the Sea Fury. So the stencil sheet, it just says A for me. There's nothing on the other side. It's a desolate landscape. But no, Yeah, it's just saying the stencil position is for Scheme A, so it's neither the racer or the blue navy one.
So,
It's a
oh
bit of a
shit.
bugger.
Sheeta. That means me and Mikey have got to put them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on. So I've just given that a gloss coat. It's nice and shiny now for
That
the
looks
decals.
good.
It's SMS clear gloss.
That's
So
sexy.
it's nice and shiny. Yeah, as I say, apart from getting ready to do prop yellow and then black and blah blah blah. So I'll leave that until we're going live on Friday, I believe. But I wanted to get the gloss coat on so it'll it could sit there for a couple of days.
I'm hoping to get my Sea Fury primed this week. When my
I've
new
got it sprayed. I've just got to touch up along the edges where I've masked, where it's seeped through the masking tape a little bit.
So Matt, the fact is,
Mine's
I don't
there.
know. I've only just learnt that the Royal Australian Navy scheme doesn't have stencils.
There we go.
Can I just ask a question on the Sea Furies? Why are you guys so far ahead of me?
Because you're shit.
Because we work on it during the week as well.
Well, I thought the idea was we only worked on it on the
Yep.
stream.
It
So
was.
all I've done-
but Gary Evans
all
is
I've done
finished.
All I've done not on the stream is give it a clear coat just now. I needed something to do during the Models for Heroes live stream. By the way, 8th birthday for Models for Heroes today. Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Models for
Happy
Heroes.
Happy
birthday, Models for
birthday,
Heroes.
M48, and thank you
And-
for everything you do for all of us veterans and
Yeah.
emergency service personnel and serving members of the armed forces.
Yeah.
Very good.
Malcolm Childs for a knighthood.
Yeah, I think so.
Welcome, Charles, for a night. How much would that be?
Oh, are you interested?
I don't
He does
know.
like
I
to
don't
bid on
want.
things, don't you, John?
I know. I don't want Childs for a night. That's just wrong. Julian
All
says,
proceeds go
Sandra,
to
the
Models for
XP thing
Heroes.
is a YT trial. I don't think it's on the live streams.
It's not
It's
on
not
all.
on
Uh,
live streams, it's a YouTube,
The
it's
XP thing is a
trial.
YouTube trial. So, sorry,
It's a
what's
beta
XP?
thing. XP. So the more they comment, the more XP they get in the stream, and they get
Experience
moved up
points
and
is a
down the
YouTube
leaderboard.
trial. Okay.
And if you get the most XP points, you get
A crown
Nothing.
with number 1 on it. Jim says, DP with baby cakes, hello and good morning. John, having my coffee too. Go on, Tim, do your best DP with baby cakes voice. She's from California.
Oh.
Hey guys.
I can't do a California.
No, that would be insult.
She says, "Good morning, Jim. How are you?"
Let's not insult.
Yeah, NorCal or SoCal.
No, you
That'll
don't
make the
want to
difference.
annoy a state with more people in it than your entire country, Timbo. So,
Watch me.
We've got lots of chat to catch up with.
Okay. Julian says, hiya, baby cakes.
DP says, hi, Julian. Gary,
Sandra says, Julian, I hope they've decided to stop using it. It's crap, in my opinion.
Oh.
I don't see the
XPs.
point of it.
Jim says, at John, got my cup of Joe in my hand tight now.
Sandra says, where's Tiff? Well, she's clearly not in. She's busy doing stuff.
She's had to do some errands today. So, there you go.
Scott says, Land of the Giants.
I used to watch that when I was a kid. Baby Cake says, G'day, Scott. How's the weather?
Timmy, your turn.
Jim says, best part of the final countdown film was the F-14s buzzing the zeros.
It was amazing, yes. Steve Spectrum Zone. Ooh.
Morning, Benji.
Says, unlurk. I watched the Grand Prix too. It was okay, but spoiled by Norris being gifted the win. Relurk.
Yeah.
Unlurk and relurk. I
Mute you
like
whilst Benji's barking.
that.
What? Can't hear you. Still barking. Welcome to the channel, Steve. I keep on muting it just as he barks.
He looks like a potato on the boil, doesn't he?
He'd be great with sour cream and cheese.
That told him. That told him. He won't
And
be
it
doing
worked.
that again.
Did you hear what he just said about you?
Yeah, I was listening. Yeah, it was a bit of a gift to Norris, to be fair. But what can you do? But it was a good race. The rain made it really interesting.
But welcome to the channel, Steve.
Yeah, welcome, Steve.
Come on, Timbo. You can do it, man.
Julian says, right, that's the Steam Loco noises done. If anyone wants to add them, to add atmosphere to a train layout, I'll see about how to share the MP3s.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Jim says, hello, Scott. How are things in Tasmania?
Right. We've got quite a lot of chat to catch up with. So,
All right.
do you guys want to crack on, and I will go through the chat?
All right. So what I plan to do during the sesh is start painting
Just
white
take
on the
5 minutes.
underside of the Victor. So I'm going to jump across to the booth and do that while you go through the comments.
Okay.
I'm going to
sod
keep
off.
working on the Hurricane.
I like Hurricanes.
It's my
And
first
Gary's
one.
working on his F35. Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right, I shall carry on. Jim says, hello, Scott. How are things in Tasmania? Scott says, good day, baby cakes. Weather is cold, 8 degrees C, but a nice 24 inside. Paul says, TTFN, TDF about to start. See you later, buddy. Bob says, oh, hang on. It ain't gone a minute. Thank you very much, baby cakes.
Oh, bless you.
Oh,
How nice. A wonderful person.
yeah. She's paid $20 for a message for you, Tim.
Oh,
She says she's in South California. Try again, Tim.
I'm going to politely decline. We will cause offense. Yeah, my knowledge of California really does come down to knowing that there is a NorCal and a SoCal. That's about it.
Thank you very much, baby cakes. It's really appreciated.
Yeah.
Where were we? Bob says, okay. Oh dear, still got shellac here and a wind up gramophone to play them on. Nice. Julian says, Sandra, I'm sat 2 feet away from a record player transferring 78, 45, 33 RPM vinyl to MP3s. Cool, Julian. I would actually listen to LPs if I had a record player and some LPs. Because I used to like the old Genesis ones. Jim says, DP baby cakes, another day of living the dream. Nice. Joe says, Tim's right bicep is 22. Tim's right bicep is 22 inches. And then you discover the Navy.
100% Australian prime Angus beef.
You have to have one sleeve of his uniform made wider than the other.
Angus B. He was my favourite of the singers in Poison. Yeah.
He was a half Popeye.
Matt says, awesome, no stencils, John. Thank you, John. Julian says, Bob, I got this record player for $22.99 from Argos. Transferred all my 78s to MP3 in a day. Nice.
In a day.
Yeah. I do. When I'm sat here modelling during the day, I just sit here and listen to music constantly. Oh, Tim's gone off screen.
No, sorry. I'm just fixing something up. There we go.
Jim says, Sandra, I do indeed remember my vinyl album days. My late brother left my sister his collection of LPs. Oh, now he's gone in the back room. What the hell is he doing? Amateurs.
Hey,
Right.
before you go for the next comment,
What?
do you mind if I send a better looking Marley a link in case he wants to join at some point?
Crack on. You know that. It's Monday. If he wants to come on, he can come on. More than welcome. Bob says, doesn't Scheme A say position of common stencil has been used in all versions? Ooh.
Ooh.
Linguistics.
You're asking me something.
Let's go for some linguistics.
Not for mine.
There you go.
Doesn't say that anywhere. So maybe there's been a reprint.
Ooh.
I don't have any of that. The
John's
only notes for scheme A mentions momentum bands, which are the orange and red stripes.
Yeah. John says, how similar is the blue to what the United States Navy used on their aircraft?
I don't know. I really don't know. So they call this one, well, Airfix recommend gloss midnight blue, but that'll be the Humbrol colour. From what I understand, the colour was a British standard Oxford blue. So I made up my own mix, 2 parts midnight blue to 1 part blue. And yeah, I don't know. I'd say it'd be different. Okay.
Why are you joking? Right. Where do we get it up to? Jim says, no, Sandra says, Jim, does she listen to them? That would be really nice. Yeah, I used to quite like listening to LPs. They don't sound the same when they've been digitally remastered and things. GM says, vinyl records are still made in Korea. On the Blue Sea Fury, there are very few white lettering stencils to be found.
Right.
Jim says, Joe, how was your holiday weekend, Joe? David says, yes, happy birthday M4H, missed this morning, and yes, knighthood for Mr. Childs. I agree. Matt says, good luck with forms. I did MBE ones for a volunteer. They want an essay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have been discussing stuff like that. Me and Waitrose. I just don't think he's got around to it yet.
You need a word.
Eh?
You need a wordsmith, don't you?
Yeah, that's why I chose That's why I mentioned it to Waitrose.
Or ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Well, people that are ex-military that, hang on, yeah, that would be able to, like, they would have done that in the service. So tend to be COs, and none of us are COs.
Service writing.
Mate, I didn't even get to corporal. Lance corporal.
I have the honour to be your obedient.
I deliberately sabotaged my own career multiple times so that I wouldn't get promoted. I didn't want the extra responsibility. And the fact that I would,
to the bench.
because I've been a craftsman for so long, I'd have had to take a pay cut to become a lance corporal.
All right. Standard thing. If my airbrush is noisy, mute me.
Jim says, Sandra, no, she doesn't, Sandra, no turntable. Sandra says, this XP to me just encourages people to spam the chat in order to be number one. Not here, thankfully, but I have seen it on other streams, and it's annoying as the chat is full of one-word replies. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a good bunch on here. Julian says, I think the XP thing is to encourage people to contribute to the streams. Yeah. And obviously people are doing that because I haven't stopped doing the chat in 40 minutes, which must be really annoying people. Sandra says, Jim, a turntable would make a nice birthday Christmas gift for her. It would. Jim says, I agree with your thoughts about the XP nonsense. Duke says, John, that was shades of Bert Newton then.
What LPs do I have here?
And DP says, a little something to help. I'm in Southern California.
Men at work, business as usual.
I like that.
The Human League, Empire State Human, 25. Billy Joel, Piano Man, and never mind the originals. Here's the heebie-jeebies with 439 golden grades.
My dad and we went into my nan and granddad's cellar ages ago to sort it out for him, and they still had my dad's original Black Sabbath LPs and stuff in there.
Oh,
and posters and stuff.
There's one more down here. Oh, 2 more. So, Salute and Sound, the RAF 50th anniversary. It's sounds of all these aircraft taking off with Douglas Bader narrating.
Yeah, I saw that in a charity shop not so long ago.
I
was going to get it, but I've got no LP player, so.
And I've got a Michael Jackson album with a pop-up sort of bloody thing, which is all a bit sort of ridiculous, really.
Yeah. Anyway, Julian says, isn't there that that thinks that Gary was doing semaphore for shut the F up, Benji? Yes. DP says, you're welcome. Thank you. Joe says, Jim, had a good weekend, not much rain, and did stuff around the house. Hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. Jim says, very generous, DP. Thank you. David says, putting tracks on a whippet, but 68 comes up about a mil short and 69 too long. Oh well, put a gaff at the bottom. Right. Tracks. Individual track links on the whippet. My advice is turn them so they're inside up, lay them out flat, the correct number, and then put a piece of cotton just longer than the tracks. Put a dab of super glue on to hold the cotton onto each piece of track. That way, when you fasten them up, when you want to pull them together, you just tie a little knot in the cotton, and even if they come, the links come apart slightly, they'll still stay on together because they'll stay on the cotton, and it makes things a lot easier.
It works really well. Highly recommended.
Jim says, Joe, a quiet weekend for me. Did some early morning cycling to beat the heat. Spent most of the weekend indoors. Frickin' heat wave.
Yeah, we've got another one coming this week.
Like a sod off. I quite like cool. June says, Joe, a 22-inch bicep. Is that length, diameter, or circumference? Well, after Timmy discovered... Oh, he's still sat in the background. Bless him.
Freedom!
After Timmy discovered that LP, it's probably diameter.
Timmy put himself in the sin bin.
He did. Skiffins is in. He says, afternoon all. Busy in the ops room this morning, scheduling. Hello,
Morning,
Skiffins.
James.
Hello, James.
I really enjoyed that review you did of the Galleria pens.
Haven't seen it yet. Jim says, greetings, Mr. Skiffins. Bob says, I saw it on the black and white outline drawing that Mr. Marley held under his camera earlier. Ooh.
Ah.
Skiffin says, hey, Jim. John says, laugh out loud. John? Julian says, John Thompson. I'd suggest comparing the paint suggested for a United States Navy aircraft and a Sea Fury. There we go. Jim says, John Marley, remember Frank Costanza? Serenity now. Ooh, I'm getting tired. TBG says, hi, everyone. Hi, TBG. Julian says, oh, you've been discussing my MBE with Waitrose, Mikey. How very kind of you. Yeah. Julian says, Mikey, you're really annoying. Never. You're not being a smart ass for once. Thank you very much, buddy. GM says, people, the blue Sea Fury is officially painted in Oxford blue. Mal has his model in what seems the accurate colour. There we go. That is GM's declaration for the day.
No, it's factual.
That's what I said. Declaration for the day.
Yeah.
I didn't say he was wrong.
All right. Don't know you found it, boys.
Fight. Kiss. What?
Duke says, Sandra, we did all the one-word answers on the first night it was on. Ha ha ha. Yeah, got out of your systems. Skiffin says, Michael Jackson had an LP with something that pops out at you. I thought that was never proved in court, John. David says, thank you, Mikey. What for? What did I do? I can't remember. Skiffin says, thanks, Gary. Remember the special discount? Great time to get them.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've just purchased a Galleria airbrush, so I might have to miss out on that wonderful discount.
DP says, hi, James. John says, thought the colours were NATO standard. Interesting that they weren't. NATO didn't exist, really, until it was very early days of NATO when the Sea Fury was out.
Well, there isn't a NATO standard. It's either FS for Federal Standard for US or a BS for British Standard, blah, 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 blah. But NATO don't have their own standard.
You know, because it's all different countries, isn't it? Different forces. John says, from what you were saying. There we go. Skiffin says, hey, DP. And David says, tracks. Oh, right. Gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense now. Got you. Right. Gary, are you modelling today?
Am I modelling today?
Just looked at the private chat and his messages off Tim going, good to go. Let me in. Right.
I was in the oubliette.
It's a place you put people to forget about them.
Yes.
Yeah, you know that's literally what it means.
Yeah.
That's why he says it.
It's basically like a giant dry well, wasn't it? They just chucked you down it.
Just a point, if
Yeah,
anybody's
I only learned that recent.
Mm.
Sorry, Gary.
just a point on the Meng F-35, and it's an obvious thing, really, but just
Yes.
so you don't get caught out in the instructions, they don't tell you to paint the forward undercarriage bay white.
Oh,
No. Everything is white.
Yeah, but they don't actually tell you to do that. They tell you to paint the weapons bays white, and they don't even tell you to paint the main undercarriage bays white.
Yeah.
They're all white. White,
Everything is white.
white at the back.
There's a bit of park green in the nose, but everything else is white.
sorry, I'm just eating a pepperoni.
But that said, so far this kit goes together really well.
Yeah. Until you
When
put
I-
the wings on the fuselage.
Thanks for that. When I tried to attach the forward undercarriage bay, it just drops in, as you can see there, like that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fit, and then all of a sudden it went click, and yay,
Yeah.
verily, it had just clicked into place. In fact, yeah, I haven't glued it in yet.
Kevin says NATO standard coffee, 1 cream, 1 sugar.
Yeah.
You see, no, that's the wrong one. In the
Come
UK,
on, Gary, you can do it.
in the UK, NATO standard is white with 2 sugars.
Yeah.
Yep. Same in
Yeah.
Australia.
Oh, hello, what's going on here?
John says need 2. Kevin says damn caps lock. DP says hi TBG. TBG says hi Monica. Is that your name, DP? I never knew that. Tiff says thought I'd pop back in for 5 whilst waiting for the bus station. We'll just make sure we're behaving ourselves.
Oh, I had to look up. I thought you said waiting for the crustacean.
What?
That's why I looked up. I thought, what?
Are you having a stroke, man? Tim,
No.
don't answer that.
Had to, didn't like them, don't really want another one.
Julie says, okay, WhatsApp message from brother. Only leaving now. Here about 1400. Yeah, knowing him, thinking more about 1530 or 1600. That's fine. Just means we get you for longer, Julian. Julian says, hi, TBG. And Monica says, yes, that is her name. Cool.
Wow.
Now we know. Hello, Monica. John says, thinking of the big boy models, I remember a great video. It was called Last of the Giants. Definitely worth you. Yeah. Speaking of which, my replacement wheels turned up from Revel today.
Oh, very good.
Hmm.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. DP says, hi, Tiff. And Tiff says, that too, Mikey. That too. Jim says, Monica. That's a nice name. Stop flirting, Jim. Jim says, if your paint colours match the decal blue, you have the right colour. The amount of misinformation that keeps occurring on aircraft across the web is starting to annoy me. Research it. Yeah, exactly. The way I see it is, don't worry about accuracy, just have fun. You don't
My
pay
darling
money.
wife just turned the light off on me.
Well, at least she hasn't walked out of the bedroom this time.
No, that's it.
Is she
Tiff
trying
says,
to tell you something?
yeah, she's saying, shut the fuck up, John. Tiff says, hey, baby cakes. TBG says, hi, Julian. Tiff says, we all have a bit of Monica in our lives. Well, we do now.
Mambo number 5.
Speaking of Monica, she says, hi, Tiff. David says, have we found the lost ones now? Lol. John says, lesson. Never make a man airbrushing laugh. Oh, yeah, got you. Julian says, no, Mikey, John's not having a stroke. He's just going deaf. Other people go blind.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Tweezers. That would be helpful. Where are you, Geffel?
E. Bar
So-
good.
So might do this week without the intros because I'm not paying 30 quid a month. That's ridiculous.
Quite right.
And what I'll do is I'll have a look at other platforms that I can use. Because I do know there's some. Because Penny showed me one. And
Have you tried OnlyFans?
Funnily enough, no.
No.
You may have.
No.
I heard you. I heard you're an avid subscriber.
Lube and
TBG
subscribe.
says, yeah, lube and subscribe,
Yeah,
people.
don't forget, people, lube and subscribe.
Oh God, we keep talking about having strokes, and then you said lube and subscribe.
Yeah. What was he thinking?
Timmy
Dude.
can't control himself.
Yeah, that's why he's got his gloves on. They're part of his fetish. TBG said, "Baby
Me
cakes
alone.
could be worse. You could be harmonica." Tiff says, now I have Mambo number 5 stuck in my head.
Don't we all?
Time for a song.
No. Ian says, thanks, Tiff, for Mambo number 5. Not. Hey, Ian. Nice for you to say hello, buddy. And Ian, this is your usual reminder. Don't forget to lube and subscribe because you usually forget until we remind you.
This doesn't fit in the spray booth very well.
That's what she said.
God. Imagine. Oh, no. Spray booth. What a terrible, terrible slang term.
No,
No, you think about it. They do spray tans, don't they? So
no,
what do they use to do spray tanning? To spray
no.
booth.
No, moving on.
You look like the world's worst vet trying to work out how to work on a seagull.
Right.
Sean says, how do you keep a steady hand airbrushing? Airbrushing? Do you use an armrest? Well, you can see what John's doing. He's sort of dancing around the spray booth, shifting from side to side, like he's doing a bloody tango.
I'm doing the Mambo number 5.
He's doing the Mambo number 5, yeah.
No, it's John. He's doing the 5 number Mambo.
And doing the Black Mamba.
That's what she said.
He's doing a waltz.
She says, welcome in. Ian says, I pre-lubed. So,
Glad to hear it.
Oh, bloody hell, Ian. Oh, dear.
To quote that
Right.
great line from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, let us not go to Bearded Veteran Creates. It is a silly place.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
We're the channel that your parents warned you about.
Yes. Right, okay.
Do you think this channel comes with a health warning sometimes? That'd be quite funny.
You should have one of those disclaimers at the beginning.
Yeah. Warning.
The views of the people involved in this production are for comedic offence only. Comedic effects only, or maybe offence.
Oh, you can finish it like the South Park one saying this should not be viewed by anyone.
Yeah.
That's a bit. I've got a bit of warpage here, I think.
Do you know what? If I can find a stream that'll let me use intros, I might actually do that. Just make one intro instead of doing all the animated, because I'm finding it difficult to find a way of doing the animated ones now that I'm not using CapCut. So I might just make one intro and one outro, and then have that at the beginning of it.
What?
Warning, the views of Timmy are based on a 12-year-old boy who's just discovered his dad's vinyl albums. Julie says, that's what she said, which makes us Makes you ask why the hell she wanted to spray it. Had it been primed? All right, you noisy sod. When doing hand brushing, breathing helps me, and I go slow. Yeah, I tend to lean with my wrists on the desk and things. GM says John needs a 148 scale spray booth for 172nd scale kit.
Yeah.
TVG says pre-lubed for a thumbs up. Nice. George says F35's looking clean, Gary.
Yeah, it's going to take a wash. Lovely, I think, those bays. When I get round to doing that.
God damn it. George says hi all. Hey,
Hi, George.
And Dave says that sounds good, Mikey. Though have loved the animations. Yeah, I enjoyed them, but I'm not prepared to have all my data and things like that put all over the world and then be held legally responsible for other people's stupid mistakes just because they don't want to take responsibility for their own actions.
All right.
Oh, he is grumpy today.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything I use to run this channel is turned to shit.
Kaput, he says.
Yeah, it's kaput.
Das ist kaputt. Oh, these are really not very good. Meng, what are you doing to me?
Julian says, warning, paying attention to the stream may result in questioning your sanity. If it doesn't, you're already beyond help. So fill your boots up. That sounds like a good one.
So what's wrong, Gary? Which bit?
No, I think there's some warpage when I was trying to put this side onto here.
Yeah.
It's I had this all lined up lovely. Got that in, and then I had a bit of an issue getting that bit in. Now that bit's all lined up lovely and glued, but now I've got a
Realised.
bit of a gapage that's occurring here. Hang on. I see the offending item.
Very good.
Yes, we can fix this. We have the technology.
Aha.
Plastic has warped slightly, so.
John says sanity is overrated. Absolutely. David says, Gary, I've done the F-35A Tamir and the Italeri B and the Tamir C to go. There we go.
This is the F-35I.
Ooh.
Yes. I've done the F-35 in that kit, the Meng one, the A model, standard A model one. It's good. It all goes together well. However, there is a seam where the wing attaches to the top and bottom fuselage, and that panel line is not on the actual thing. So I found when I was rubbing that back to make that seam disappear, I got a scallop in the top of the wing, which stands out like dog's balls. But it is a good kit, but just it'll pale alongside the later released Tamiya one.
June says, I wouldn't know, John. I'm not acquainted with it. And John says, I did watch Airplane and Airplane 2, the sequel, over the weekend. Good films there.
Great films.
Yeah.
Jim
says,
I'm just going to go and give Benjamin his lunch. I shall return shortly. I'll mute you on the way.
GM says, where's Bobby? Not heard him purchasing anything since the stream starts. 26 years left.
Oh, you know what?
Yes. Good.
What's good?
My mask job.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm ripping through this. I'm treating it like a 48 and 48.
Very good.
So I'm not getting too hung up on little mistakes. I'm having a grand old time.
I need to do. I haven't done a 48 scale one with black and white underside. I've only done the. Oh, I've got a 72nd scale Spitfire with that, but I want to do one in 48. But I've got other ones planned.
Well, we have got Mark Ones to do at some point.
Yes, but I have 2 Mark 1 kits, and I have a plan for both of them. Neither of them are black and white undersides.
Well, that's your own solid fault, then.
Yeah.
Will be embarrassing if I've outfoxed myself here and the oil cooler doesn't line up, but if it does, goodly shit.
Oh,
John says the sight gags in both movies were funny. Took a few times seeing them to get them all. Yeah, with them it's about watching what's going on in the background as well as listening to the script.
that's the first coat of white. Looking very
That looks
white.
like an angel, like some sort of angel interceptor or something.
I'll tell you what, it's that crescent wing. Oh, what a beautiful plane.
Look at that.
Nice.
Oh,
Perfect. Well happy with that.
Joe says, sanity? None of us are, Julian. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna.
Bob says, actually bought a TF to USB adapter because the SD slot in my laptop died yesterday. Ooh. There you go. And Hobby Time says, hi guys. Hi, Hobby.
Hoi, hoi.
Hoi hoi. Tim says hoi hoi too. Or ahoy.
Ahoy!
Ahoy, shipmate. Didn't an Australian ship run aground not so long ago? Australian warship.
No, that was New Zealand.
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
I would say
No, we can't man ours, so there's no chance of them running aground.
Yeah, so what are you going to do with all these submarines you're buying from the UK then? Just put them on
Oh.
museum displays or something?
It's none of your business.
None of your business. We don't talk of operational matters.
Yeah, because you don't have any.
Yeah, loose lips sink ships.
Yeah. All that.
Yeah. David says, wow, nice Timmy.
Thank you.
Julian says, if I recall correctly, Airplane had a film poster by Rocky 17. Yes, they did. John says, funny, my DVD player died and I took my other tower and hooked it up to my TV. Glad I'm not alone with tech failure. No. GM says, the RAF 33 Squadron B707 flight trainers use the aeroplane at flying high as a how not to do something. I was delighted to be part of the B707 last flight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gary, John, you look upset.
No, because what he's referring to there is Boeing said don't do a double asymmetric. That is, retard the throttle on both engines on one wing. So, like in true Australian tradition, we said hold my beer, and the plane speared in and killed everybody.
Yeah, that part's not funny, but us never listening and then stuffing things up, that part pretty bang on.
Bob says got 4 different wheels to print to make a Mammon throne to wheelchair conversion, plus another different size dragon and a fox. Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing those when they're done. That'd be cool.
All right.
I do like the idea of having like a set of our characters.
Ooh, I get to pull this out now.
Ew.
You get to have a pull. That's just gross. Why would you say that?
Oh.
On camera as well, Timmy. I'm shocked and disappointed.
Shocked and appalled.
That is looking really nice, Tibbo.
Thank you. I am just ripping through it. So
Too young for this conversation.
I've been posting photos of it as it's been going on the Tim's 148 Hurricane thread on the Discord.
The windows are in the Land Rover. Yeah. Nice to see it. Sure, I really enjoy seeing everyone's work. Except from John's. John's is shit.
Represent.
How am I joking? Yours is far better than anything I could ever bloody do.
Really? You don't see it close
Joe,
enough.
Joe says Mikey is trying to get Australian secrets to sell to some country and pay off his YouTube bills.
Yeah. All of a sudden there'll be new intros in Chinese.
Yeah. No. I was a British boy. We don't do such things. We are loyal to the crown, apparently.
Hurrah! Huzzah!
Yeah.
Loyal to the soil, boys. Loyal to the soil.
Yeah. David says, been lucky to see them in resin on Saturday. They do look good. Nice. You lucky bastard. John says, what scares me off from an airbrush is cleaning one. Seems involved and wants a chance to get it right.
No, it's not. It's really easy to clean.
We can talk you through it once you get one. We can, I'm happy to do a one-on-one or whatever it takes to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a game changer. Going from painting like Warhammer minis with brushes since I was a kid to doing the big flat panels in scale modeling and airbrush, it's night and day.
Yeah. Gary, have you got Facebook open?
I have.
All right. If I send you a link in a sec, can you put it in the private chat for me?
I can.
Nice.
Oh, where's my
Because
cleaning brush
I
gone?
don't want to open too many windows and stuff on my computer. Dickhead, I can just put it straight into the chat on YouTube, can't I, on my phone?
Well, I've done it now.
Thank you.
You didn't have to call him Dick.
Well, I'm about to do it.
You didn't have to call him a dickhead. Oh, yeah. Sorry, missed that one.
It actually is a very supportive community, despite what people might see.
It's just squaddy humor, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
There we go. I've put the Discord link in the chat. So if you're not already in the Discord and you want to join, it's a really nice, friendly community. You can share your work on there and get help and support and things like that, and get advice. There's also face-to-face rooms where you can FaceTime each other, and if you're at the desk, you can sit and do some scale modeling together and things like that.
And Julian's done a great job putting together a how to use Discord little message in there, which kind of spells out the ABCs. So it's not too much for anyone to try something new.
Yeah, he's done really well with that, bless him. That's his moderator project. He's earned his pack of hobnobs. For those that don't know, I pay my moderators in packs of hobnobs.
No wonder you can't afford to subscribe to StreamYard.
I just refuse to.
Yeah.
It's just a ridiculous price for what you get. GM says, John, indeed, was a very sad day. The jet crashed. I knew everyone on board.
I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't.
George says, nice hurricane.
Sorry, what jet was that we were talking about?
The 707 speared in Bass Strait years ago in Royal Australian Air Force Service.
Oh, that's a shame.
Bob says, is Waitrose prepared for another delivery? Will he be able to send to all recipients or just extract his and send the rest to you? We're going to have to think of something, because at some point it's going to get a little bit unfair on Waitrose, because he has got a lot to do and it costs him money to send things. So, yeah. We'll have to come up with something, Bob. It depends what you want to do, mate. George says, got to head back to work. Catch you later. See you later, George.
Cheers, George.
Cheers.
I paste the Discord link in the chat. Duke says, John, do you have anything special to your airbrush between SMS and acrylic paints? Or do you do anything?
No, I just so I use if I'm using say SMS or whatever, I'm using an unlabeled bottle. That's just the Bunnings Diggers brand pink enamel. Oh no, pink thinners. It's not here; it's out in the shed. And then for the acrylic paints, I tend to use the other bloody bottle. Where is it? Oh, yeah. The Vallejo stuff. So what I do, if I'm using one, I just clean it out properly using the appropriate thinners, and then just I don't rinse it with water or anything. I just sort of crack on.
There you go.
God, we're an hour and a quarter in already.
Joe says, Mr. Morris, I bought the Galleria Mobius TG trigger airbrush. It's so much better for my old tired hands.
I'm waiting, literally, I'm waiting for the knock on the door when it arrives.
He's waiting on...
And you hope it gets before Marion.
I am constantly checking on Marion's whereabouts on my Stalker app on the phone.
John says, I may take you up on that airbrush cleaning lesson, have a compressor, and haven't used it in 20 years. Ooh,
yep.
Let's check that for us then.
Anytime. We'll do that off air. We'll organise it through Discord or however you want to do it, John.
Yeah. Julian says, John, I'd suggest running IPA through it, then water once you're finished. Also have a sonic bath, not tried it yet though, to clean it, plus cotton buds soaked in IPA. Yeah, I use a sonic bath like once every few weeks.
Be very careful.
I have a sonic bath. I don't tend to use it because it doesn't do much for me.
Oh, mine was gleaming. You got to put the cleaning solution in it as well, though. Not just water.
Be very careful if you're using cotton buds cleaning an airbrush, because the fibers do tend to collect in the airbrush.
Yes. Make sure you flush it out afterwards.
And it will cause you problems down the line. That said, I do use these to clean my airbrush, but I'm very careful how I do it.
Yeah.
Well,
I have thought about getting one of those sonic baths, but I've had 50-50 response from people has been, yeah, they're good, and some say no, they're no good. So I don't really know.
Bob says, if people are willing, DM me addresses and I'll dispatch individually or designate another distributor for private people. What do you guys want to do?
Sorry, I come in late on this conversation.
Bob said he's got another delivery stuff for us lot. And he was going to send it to Waitrose, and I said, we need to be careful about sending too much to Waitrose because he does have a lot of stuff to do, and it costs him money, obviously, to forward them on. So Bob said, if people are willing, DM him your address, and he'll dispatch them individually or designate another distributor for private people.
Damn.
I don't mind either way.
Okay. That's something we can discuss on Discord, Bob. David says, came away with a Lancaster and V Forward walking Strand Beast on Saturday from Bob. And some things for Julian. Thank you again, Bob. Mrs. thought I got lost doing delivery to Barry. GM says, Duke, I use enamel paints for thinners. I use general purpose thinners from Bunnings. The new water-based paints from AK I have not used. There you go.
The issue I have with enamel paint is the drying time.
I've never used them.
But I do like AK real colours.
I found with AK you got to thin them a lot more than you do with Vallejo. Vallejo you don't really have to thin them much, if at all.
Yeah, I'm an acrylic guy. It's just a holdover from painting minis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am learning how to use Vallejo Model Air.
Yeah.
Slowly, but
it saves a lot on water and thinners.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bob says, fair enough. David says, yes, have had okay results cleaning my airbrushes and only use buds for the cup and front of nozzle. Yeah.
Yeah. I would be interested to know how people get on with a sonic bath.
I used mine yesterday.
What do you do? Put IPA in it?
No, just normal cleaning solution. The one I got comes with the cleaning solution,
Oh, okay.
and you can get airbrush cleaner, can't you, from Vallejo?
Yeah.
So you just put some of that in, put some hot water or really warm water in, and then just leave it on for 10, 15 minutes.
I've got some Sprue Box airbrush cleaner.
And it comes out spotless.
All right.
Well, maybe a
There we
future
go.
investment in chair force hot. Oh, look at that.
There you go, see?
It's the landing gear done.
Spotless.
Achtung Spitfire.
That's a hurricane.
Is it? Oh, yes, it is. I couldn't tell from the underneath.
There you go. See? Came out spotless.
Oh, yeah, nice. Achtung Hurricane. Well, my new airbrush, when it gets, it will be spotless until I use it, which will be within minutes.
Yeah.
David
Getting
says
their
use
quality.
Indian Pale Ale to clean the airbrush. Or maybe I'm reading
No!
that wrong.
No. Do not use Indian Pale Ale to clean an airbrush. Indian Pale Ale is for drinking copiously.
Ah,
IPA is not, as in isopropyl alcohol.
I'm not an IPA guy, so feel free to use it.
Oh, I am. And do you know what I had the other day? I had a pint of Hawkston IPA, Jeremy Clarkson's IPA, and it's very, very nice.
Yeah.
so
See,
this
I'm
is
more
on
of
my palate at the moment. Old Hooky.
If I'm going to drink beer, I drink proper beer.
That is
I drink
probably-
stout and
No, that's just a
brown ale.
pint of sludge.
I thought you were going to say Foster's then. Oh,
Oh God,
no, I'm not Australian, mate.
I'm still ashamed of my
You
Foster's.
can't
and
even
Darlington
get Foster's
thing.
here. It's such a stupid stereotype.
Yeah, John finds a way. John loves it.
it does taste better in the UK than what it does here. That's for sure.
Tastes better down the drain.
Duke says, thanks, Gary and John. John says, I asked last session if aircraft parts from Japanese shot-down aircraft were used by the US. Did the RAF do similar with German aircraft? They actually used the whole aircraft in some cases. They
Generally, from what I've seen on the internet and in documentaries and that, most bits of German aircraft shot down by the RAF ended up on walls in crew rooms.
Yeah. They also, if they had nearly complete aircraft as well, they used them as like promotional things, didn't they? They took them around towns on trailers.
Yeah, I mean, they did. I don't know whether Winkle Brown did it, but they did have a unit that any captured aircraft they would fly and, discover things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winkle Brown did that.
But haven't ICM brought out a kit of a German aircraft in RAF or some colours?
I think so, yeah.
That one
Well,
there.
the latest
got toured around.
Wellington by Airfix has a Luftwaffe scheme included as well.
That looks like a prize-winning piece of work there, Timmy.
Yeah. Well, talking about ones that got toured around. So when White 5 was shut down, it only really had the prop kind of bent up, and one of the wings had a bit of damage at the root of it, but it was mostly intact, and they took it around as part of the fundraising effort.
Oh wow!
Around England. So yeah.
Didn't take it to Wales because we're all skinflints. It's an English Air Force and buy English planes. Let the bloody English buy them.
Look you as Nitsy.
There's actually, I was watching a good film the other day, about the Second World War, and it's called They Shall Not Divide Us, and it's about the Welsh Guards in World War II, a Welsh Guards unit. It's actually a really good film. It's on YouTube. GM says, mine animals do set very quickly, but I leave for a few days to fully cure. To remove, I use drain cleaner in plastic bucket.
No.
Speaking of which, here's the better looking Marley.
Hooray!
I'm seeing
Ahoy.
double.
Howdy, folks.
Hey, Paul.
I've got an invitation from John, so I thought, hell, I'll drop in and say hello.
How are you?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
There we go.
Who have
Now
we
I've
got?
Marley's on the bottom.
We've got Gary Morris, we've got Timbo, we've got yours truly, and we've got Mikey.
Who's Mikey?
Who's Mikey?
Question that is asked regularly.
Back room.
Very good.
Joe says, I know you guys will hate me, but I can't stand Guinness Stout. Yuck.
I can't stand it either.
It's
Do you know
like
what? I've
tasting-
started enjoying it.
It's like tasting stout. It's
Guinness in a
horrible.
bottle.
I
Extra
just like-
stout.
Oh, right.
It's a man's drink. Hobby Time says the RF Test and Evaluation Unit.
That
There
was
we
it.
Ooh. John Thompson says, reminds me of the German captured B-17. Yeah. David says, hi, Paul. They did it with
Hello,
tanks
David.
as well, especially in World War One. They call them Beuterpanzers, which means captured tank.
Well, the Germans
TD says,
in World War II used most of the French tanks, didn't they? They turned them into Panzer.
yeah. TVG says the Ratwaffe. Well, the Jerrys were very helpful, landing their shiny FW-190s at an RAF base in Wales. Yes.
They did that.
Let's have a look at what Paul's working on.
Oh, that's coming along.
It's coming along.
Excuse me, I'll go and have a moment to myself.
I
Timmy, can I borrow your
I
sock?
don't have too much to show for it. I've just done a.
That's to peel it off the wall first.
But I travel for work, so I don't model as often as the other one.
I haven't done an F-15 in years. I must do myself an F-15.
They are beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah,
I'm kind of. I don't know if you can see. I'm kind of happy with the different silvers on the back of that.
yeah, nice.
There.
So how did you achieve that? You know,
With
are
different
they
paints.
aluminium brands? Yeah, but, I mean, different shades or same brand or different brands?
No, mixing. Mixing. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see it okay.
Oh yeah.
He's a card, isn't
Yeah.
What?
So what I'm trying to get there. Oh, do I have the book?
24 people watching, only 15 likes. What's going on?
Come on, people, lube and subscribe.
Yeah.
F15 likes.
Julian, I bet it's you, isn't it?
So yeah, trying to get. It's got different colours on the back of that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you got to start with something. So I'm starting with silver, and so far it looks really nothing like this. What the hell? So, but yes, that's a lovely reference, that book. And yeah, little things like this matter. Like this is green in here and grey in here
Yeah.
because the instructions say grey on both sides. So little things like that matter. Not that anyone but me will ever know.
And as we found out, it's the only Strike Eagle that was painted green. Was a prototype. What do they call it? European. Was
Lizard.
it 2?
Well, they call it lizard informally. Yeah,
Right.
informally. Yes. Now, how are you, Timbo?
I'm very well. I'm ripping through this hurricane very, very quick. So at least I feel like it's very quick.
So I take it that's not you with the F-35 there.
no, that'll be
No,
me.
Gary.
Sir.
Okay, Gary.
That'll be me with
I
the.
don't swear you don't watch this channel.
That'll be me with the Israeli F-35. Just playing around with the dry fit and before I paint these white.
Okay, so now that we've established it's Israeli, which brand are you doing?
Meng.
Meng.
Yeah.
It's the Chinese Israeli.
Yeah. Here you go. It's the.
Can't be
No.
Chinese. It hasn't got Winnie the Pooh on it.
I bought it at.
And that's demonetized in China.
I bought it at Telford last year.
Good.
And then I ummed and ahed about building it due to recent events. But then I thought, stuff it, I'm going to build it anyway.
Not you as well. I had to have words with John about that shit. It's a fucking model. Just build it.
Well, I am building it. I didn't want to offend.
Build it faster. No.
I order you. Build it faster now. Fly it away by end of day. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
What the?
I've lost the plot of what's going
Moving on swiftly, John Thompson, Youngling popular in your neck of the woods? One of my favourite beers. I've not heard of that one.
What's that?
Youngling.
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 I hear Anakin hates it.
One to go on the list.
Very nice, Paul. Yes, I do like F-15s. TBG says, does Paul glue things on backwards? Asking for everyone.
No, Paul's a proper modeler.
Wow.
Paul came out facing the right way.
Right between the ribs, that one was, John, wasn't it?
Oh, well. I don't know if I told you the story about that. So,
What?
no, first of
You were
all,
born
earlier
backwards.
on in the stream, there was mention about cargo and freight and all that sort of stuff. So I had to escort a LOX converter, LDBO, liquid dry breathing oxygen converter from a Hercules rescue to Hawaii. And I got off at Hawaiian International Airport and said to a guy that works for United, who I flew on, how do I get to the cargo terminal? And he looked at me and said, cargo? And I went, yeah, cargo. And he literally, no word of a lie, 14 people later, oh, you mean freight? And I'm just like, oh, and they all sort of went, oh. And I said, yeah, okay, freight. Where's the freight terminal? Oh, hop in the van. They took me around there. No word of a lie. On the side of the big-ass hangar, it said Continental Airlines cargo. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then you see all their aircraft, all their cargo aircraft have cargo written down the side.
But
Yeah.
14 people it took, and about
Stupid
40 minutes or so. It was crazy.
GM says, Paul, how many small decals will you have to apply for that F-15? I filmed a Jazz DF
Japanese
EJ-15.
air self-defense force.
There you go. And
well-
on the aircraft, there were hundreds.
Right. Well, to answer that question, probably one, because I suggest this model's 20 or something years old, and I reckon not one of them is going to work, and then that goes in the bin. Because, yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in it. But, yes, I
I
don't
thought
know.
you said you were a proper modeler.
No, I said that. John, does this F-35, or rather the F-35 that you built, did it need nose weight?
Oh, I cannot remember. I'll go with yes. I can't remember what to put in.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm doing it on the deck, so I'll put some in.
Put some in.
Morris, question for
Yes.
you. You'll remember this. What colour were the seats in the Mark 1 Land Rovers?
Depends what you're doing. Brown
Or
sometimes.
Mark 3. Mark 3 Land Rovers.
They were black.
Yeah.
Well, that-
Was it still that black fake leather
Black.
shit?
Fake, plasticky, leathery.
Yeah.
And underneath it was the fuel tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sat on the fuel tank. Great fun.
John says Chisraeli.
That's very good.
Chisraeli.
Very good.
If you could change the fuel tanks.
Yeah.
The lever in the old.
Well,
Andy.
on the Defenders, the fuel tank, I'll show you now. Oh. So on the Defenders, which is the ones we used, the fuel tanks were underneath here. So if I zoom in on mine.
Can I just say, by the time I left the Air Force, we were using Defenders and the like.
I thought you were still using horse and carts.
No. 2004.
So yeah, the fuel tank was under here on the Defenders. But what that meant is if they went cross country and they hit the back end on the ground, they hit the fuel tank.
Yeah, but you're not sat on the fuel tank, are you?
No, but what it meant is that when we're in Iraq, one of them came in and said, "I can't get my landy started." And I went, "Is there fuel in it?" Right? Yes, the fuel tank, the fuel gauge is on full. I went, "Yes, but have you checked the fuel tank? Have you put fuel in?" And he went, "Well, no, because the fuel gauge says full." I said, "Right." I said, so I went to start it, and I went, "No, that's got no fuel." And he said, "It has. Look, the fuel gauge full." I went, "I'm telling you, that sounds like there's no fuel going through to the engine. It's ran out of fuel." So I got underneath the back, and he'd hit a rock that hard that he'd completely collapsed the fuel tank in the middle.
Well, he shouldn't have been speeding past the NAFI then.
Yeah. And
is that why
he turned around and said,
had to leave the regiment?
I said to him, "How long has this been like this?" And he went, "Well, we took it out last week." And I went, "So you've basically been driving it around with a crushed fuel tank for a week. And what have you got to do with it tonight?" And he said, "We're going on convoy." I said, "So now I've got 3 hours to find a whole fuel tank and swap it over." Great. Cheers, mate.
Hello, too.
I hate when I have to do my job.
Everything that was crushed.
Right, as well. Oh, no, hang on.
Sounds like what you're going to do over there is hit a rock.
Yeah. John says, "Youngling is a Pennsylvania brew." Ooh, interesting.
Ooh. One I will put on my list of beers to try.
Duke says, good one, Tim. Julie says, "Oh, good grief. Just seen an FB YouTube created a mapping app, but it failed. The streets had no name."
God.
John says, "General Chuck Yeager flew in an F-15. Any RAF pilots going for speed records like us, crazy Yanks."
Well, he was in his 80s when he did that.
Good old Chuck.
What a name.
GM says, "Paul, aftermarket F-15 stencils are available. Unfortunately, a big challenge." Ha ha. 25 people watching. Ooh.
Lovely.
Lovely.
So
Kind of helps if I put some paint on the brush.
21. Sky grey. Oh, sky grey.
You just happen to have some of that.
I'm sure I do.
Hey, it'll be in your AK set. RF
Yeah.
Sky Grey.
I think I have got some of that.
Where's the thing? Is it dry enough? What direction does the wheel go?
See, I was just thinking I should have sprayed these seats before I put them in, but actually, now I'm doing it with the brush, it just looks like it's got like all the little cracks and stuff in because the brush lines. So that's good.
Oh, right.
Looks like Gary's fat ass has been sat in
Hey!
it. Sorry, Gary.
We're trying to see how many people get offended in this stream, aren't we?
Yes, we've already offended half of Asia.
What's this wee shit?
Listen, Mr. Sweet and Innocent. Because you're only young.
Still
Just
good.
think you've got 18 years to learn how to embarrass your kids.
Who does?
Phil says, "Hi all, just popping in for the final minutes." Hello, Phil.
I don't know.
I'll say hello to you. The rest of them are miserable bastards.
Hi, Phil.
Hello.
There we go.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm trying to
Google Spawn.
MC021. MC.
John says, have you noticed the B50 footage and the B29 in the right stuff? Fifi was the stand-in. There we go. Julian says, 25 watching. You're under-lubed by 9, Mikey. Only 16 lubes. Oh. What have we done wrong? How have we upset people? How haven't we upset people today?
Alphabetically
Come
or
on. The list is long.
Yeah. John says, love the right stuff. Wally Shearer was from a few towns over. Cool.
So he was an astronaut.
Bob says, didn't Youngling gain prominence after the Bud Light fiasco?
Bud Light fiasco's Bud Light tasting terrible? Oh no, it's Coors Light. It's probably the worst beer I've ever had. And hello to all our friends in the USA.
it's not that bad.
It is when it's green. The first one I had was green.
So something I'll take. I'll say in defense of Coors is that you can buy them in. What were they? It's like
Morgs?
a pack of 18 or something.
Oh,
Which here in Australia is perfect. They're the only ones that do it.
yeah.
Because sometimes I don't want to drink 24 beers. But
What's the matter with you?
pack is
What's the matter with
useless.
He's Navy.
I will not accept lib from the grown man who says, I don't like stout. I love you, Gary, but they're fighting words.
I just find them far too heavy.
I forced the better-looking Marley to have a stout when we were in the UK.
I bet that took a lot of forcing, didn't it?
He had to chew it back. Yeah.
Who makes
It is an acquired taste.
price?
Yes.
Pricier.
One that
So,
I've not
ask a question,
acquired.
Gary. Who makes
Acrision? ACRYSION.
Monica says she's lubed.
Lovely.
Moving on swiftly. They're giving me
Sorry.
they're giving me a code here for
It's lube up.
AK Interactive, the Meng range of MC021, and according to my converter, MC021 doesn't exist,
Oh, well. Unlucky.
and neither does 210. So,
Looking for my phone.
Chinese.
yeah, and I don't know who makes Acrision. Acrision. I can't even say it.
Clearly.
Is it guns? I bet it's a guns song.
So
It is.
Gary
It's guns.
GM says John T have a record for the highest Mirage altitude reaching using a ventral rocket pack, 77,000 feet, reached 1.13 Mach in the DC-8 in a near vertical dive off the Australian coast with an F-18 chase aircraft. Holy crap, there's some figures.
So, right, I've sussed it. Meng's sky grey is actually light gold grey.
Okay. Thanks for telling us.
Now I've got to find light gold grey.
I'll probably never build an F-35, but thank you.
I've got light ghost grey.
Yeah, I've got a light gull and a dark gull.
Don't
I
tell
just looked
everyone.
up
They're all one.
accretion, just for S's and G's. Accretion is a growth or increase of a gradual accumulation of additional layers of matter. So it sounds like a good name for a paint brand, doesn't it?
Or
Yes.
or a band.
Or a band.
Dorkosaurus says, hi, I need coffee. Hello, Dorkosaurus.
Oh, my coffee.
You can have mine, but I want it.
Oh, no.
Julian
I drank
says,
it.
the best part of the right stuff was watching the tip of a rocket on launch. Nothing for a few seconds, and then end fell off with a small pop. The Grand Fromage is in. He says, I lubed and then unlubed just so I could lube all over again. Hi, all kissy.
Hello, Malcolm. Happy
Hello, Malcolm.
birthday for
Happy
Hello,
birthday
Malcolm.
for Models for
today.
Heroes.
Yeah.
And
8
thank
years
you
old
again
today.
for everything that you do. Your knighthood's in the post.
I'm just reading a message off Malcolm, actually. John, continue since you're watching the screen.
Sure. John says, Julian, I like that part, which is the rocket going. I just finished a book on the Miles M52 and how wonderful. Can't believe it
so
was
he
cancelled.
digresses
I reckon, looking at it, I reckon it would have beaten the Americans. I can't click on the next comment.
Yeah, I can see the next comment.
DP Baby Cake says, hi, Dorka. And Ian says, I forgot to mention hit number 35033.
That's
DCSP
35033.
arrived today. 35033.
Once again, 35033.
Okay. So once we've done that, I'm going to read this message out from Malcolm.
Okay.
During Fetch's trampoline afternoon, Malcolm, Bob says 35033 times 2, arriving tomorrow. Yes, doubled again.
That's 35033 35033.
June says afternoon, Dorkosaurus. John says from the Earth to the Moon had an interesting segment on the LEM, cooler than LK used by Soviets. Cool. Right.
That's great series, that one. Yeah, fantastic.
Duke says, is the stream nearly over? Dorka's in. 15 minutes, well, 14 minutes. What happened to the 35033 megahertz kit?
35033.
Right.
Now you're going to read the cease and desist order out from Mr. Childs.
Yeah. Pray silence, for I am reading the words of Le Grand Fromage. Okay.
Yea, verily.
So, he says, to celebrate 8 years of meaningful model making, promoting the hobby as a positive activity, and improving our heroes' mental health and well-being, for our 8th birthday, our campaign is called Your Heroes Need Glue. Simply celebrate with us by purchasing any of the items on our Amazon wish list, support our heroes, and top us up with resources we need to provide a vital hobby. Some of our supporters already use our Amazon wish list to top up our stocks of resources, which have been incredibly helpful. Scan the code, choose a gift, the address is provided automatically, and as a birthday treat, why not share this post with colleagues, friends, enemies, and your favourite tabletop gamers, war gamers, figure painters, railway enthusiasts, RC hobbyists, and scale modelers. Do good, share with everyone, even your cat. There we go.
Nice.
So, if I can get it for there you go. Your hero.
That's cool.
So what I will do is
Nice.
I will share that on the page in a bit when I finish the stream, and I'll share it in the Discord. And if people want to give them a bit of a birthday present, then they can go, or you can go onto the Models for Heroes website, and they have the link to the Amazon wish list on there. You can check it out and just go and buy some off their wish list just to help them out. That would be excellent. Oh, his bush has arrived.
Oh, nice.
Yes, happy birthday, Malcolm.
Julian says, Bob, on the plus side, one for David Sterling and the other for Paddy Main. Yeah. John says, couldn't get over all the rockets on the Soviet N5, I believe, had more than 5 on the Saturn V. Yeah. DP says, happy birthday, Moles for Heroes. And Bob says, Julian, that means I'll have to get another for me. Yeah, but then you'll have 4 instead of 3.
We can smell the newness.
GM says, our cats don't like glues. Matt says, is there a PayPal gift aid link too? I can certainly share the link to their donate page as well. Because if you go on their website, they do have a button where you can donate. So I'll share that as well. Gary says, our cats don't like glue. Julian says, Bob, just don't get more than they originally had in L detachments.
Oh, whoops. Bollocks.
John says, are there hopes of the UK going to the moon? Well, why would we want to go to the moon? It's not like we can spread democracy there or implement parliaments or railways or anything, is it? And then hand it back to them. So, there's no point. It's never going to be part of the British Empire, as Al Murray said.
Well, you're running out of other terra nulliuses, so you might as well do something.
Oh, look. You get O-rings, spare O-rings.
Oh.
I'll get
I
lots.
have no ring.
The unboxing. Ooh, that's posh.
Pew, 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 pew.
That's all he's going to do now every time he sprays, and
Lovely weight.
he's going to do a picture of him doing a James Bond pose for his Facebook.
How long was the wait for it?
I ordered it. Yes, Saturday. I ordered it on Saturday.
No.
That's
Lovely
not
wait.
bad. Julian says, you mean all of us detaching the country or sending someone from the UK, John? Ah! Down, down.
Stirred, not shaken.
Puddled, not shaken. Malcolm says, oh, rings.
Here's a fun fact. I've got this bump here that I thought was a sensor. It's a bit of like sprue that I haven't filed back.
Yeah.
Oh, where is it?
It's up on, you wouldn't be able to see it unless
Oh, I see.
okay. I thought that's some sort of like light or sensor. No, it's
No, sir.
Yeah.
no.
No, sir.
GM says, Mr. Morris, go buy more O-rings. They get used up very quickly. I've never
Yeah.
changed mine, you know.
No, all right.
John says, wish we could do joint missions more impactful than just one nation going. Shows cooperation and hopefully. Yeah, well, we have sent astronauts up to the space station and stuff with the Americans and the Russians.
Speaking of space and O-rings, did you know that it was a O-ring failure that brought the Challenger down?
Yeah. Yeah, it was on the fuel booster, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
It allowed liquid fuel or it allowed the frost and stuff to get through, didn't it?
Yeah, the bad things happen very quickly.
Yes, they do at those speeds.
Nice,
Yeah.
shiny, brand new.
Phil says the main reason for not going to the moon is there's no atmosphere. I'll stay in the pub. June says, okay, we're back to the ring conversation again. So what happens when Tiff's away? Thumbs up, people. Duke says, which is the one true ring? Ian says, didn't know Walter made airbrushes, Gary.
Walther.
Or Walther.
A
Not
Walther
Walter.
PPK.
GM says, join Elon and go to Mars. No one else is interested.
Yes.
No.
Yes, was funny, funny.
June says, in him or Mars, Gary? Laugh out loud. John Thomas says, oh, John Thompson. I've done it again. Sorry, John.
Not the first time, is it?
No, I keep calling John Thomas instead of John Thompson. I'm really sorry, dude. He says, Phil, I'll have a pint too. And John's now laughing. Oh, dear.
Awesome.
You're probably not the first to do that.
Well, I've got the tail on and the prop now, which means I go meow.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah. No.
That's the main thing.
John says, no problems, Mikey. Thank you, buddy. Malcolm says, Gary, does the new airbrush come with a smart speaker enabled compressor?
Yes, Malcolm was there on Saturday when I had my airbrush issue. I did talk about earlier on.
You didn't tell us about this Bluetooth speaker
Well,
compressor thing.
because I then turned the compressor on by using the phrase "you know who" turn on man cave.
Oh, Alexa, turn off man cave.
Yeah, which is exactly what Mr. Childs then did in his childish way. Yeah, all my problems were solved.
So what you're saying is Malcolm fixed it remotely for you.
Yeah,
So what you're saying is you should be saying thank you to him.
I always say thank you to him.
At least he was remotely interested.
Oh. Julie says, only if he knows what John Thomas is a euphemism for in Wales, Mikey. I think it's sort of universal what John
I
Thomas
think
is.
it's probably ubiquitous, yeah.
Jem says, Timmy needs a Merlin sound file. He does. And John says, Julian, I know, and I'm rolling on the floor laughing.
Now there's a
Very
problem.
good.
Okay. I wonder if I can get away with doing that.
All right. I forgot I've got to paint the band on the tail.
The flashes, so red, white, blue? Oh, no, the band on the empennage. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That band on the rug.
The empennage.
The empennage.
What is the empennage?
It's that
It's a bit
band
behind the fuselage. It's a bit at the back where it all goes to a taper, so it's just forward tail. Yeah.
It's a little bit between the O-ring and the John Thomas.
I thought it was the goutage.
The gooch.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, like, can you go out and compliment someone on their empennage, or?
That's a mighty fine empennage you've got there, madam.
Yeah.
Slap. I was only talking about your aeroplane.
Oh, look at the empennage on that.
Anyway, I shouldn't have opened my mouth. Sorry.
But yes, that band on the
That's what happens when you get all pedantic.
on the
skuma.
thing. Yeah, I'll teach
John?
you to correct a Luddite.
John apologising for opening his mouth.
Wow.
My daughter's just walked in the house. She said, "Is it finished yet, John?"
Oh. No, it's not. And hello to my other daughter.
Is it the right way on, John?
What, the compliment? Oh. Okay. So
I was
before
gonna say
we
about that.
finish, so I'll show you what I've managed to achieve during the stream. So if that's okay, Mikey.
Yeah, I was just going to say something, but okay.
All right. So the FX 48 scale C Fury, as we started the stream, it's a gloss, so it's all ready for decals next time we do that on Friday. And I've painted, I'm not going to fit it in, but I painted the first coat of white on the underneath of the Victor, and that's looking quite all right. It is showing up some seams I need to readdress, but looking all right. Yeah, and I'm still waiting for the stencil pack from Top Notch to arrive from the UK before I carry on with that, but it'll give me time to do the bottom. Oh, I've also painted the main landing gear aluminium. Oh, no, black as a primer before aluminium. And that's me. I've done stuff.
Cool. So what I was going to say, John, was I was
Shut
talking to my daughter Chloe pops in now and again on the stream.
Sure do.
Right. We talked about it the other day, and I said I was talking about you. I said John said, "Is that the one that always gets everything back to front?"
Oh, for fuck's sake. You fuck one goat. I mean,
And she's only just started watching.
all right, it was maybe 2 goats.
That's not what I heard.
No 3 goats were harmed during the making of this episode.
Tiff
That's
says,
funny.
before we get going, because it's less than a minute to, like 10 seconds to, Tiff says, Tiff is checking in, Julian. You'll be better behaving. Julian says, reminds me of a female colleague in my first job who told someone she had a John Thomas on the phone for him. John says, thanks for giving me a good laugh. Got to go to work on my Europa model. Paper ships and not a floaty thing. Nice.
Oh.
Julian says, polish his halo, Tiff. Tiff says, you don't have a halo, you're a heathen. Julian says, I just remembered the same colleague said there was a phone message for Kevin on. No, it was for Kevin on primary school. Julian says, you mean my halo is fake?
Well, it is well known that the only halo on here is that of the Grand Waitrose.
Yes. Cool. Right, we're at the 2-hour mark. So I can't play the bloody outros or anything.
So bye.
So is it just grey? Is no button there at all anymore?
No, the buttons are there. It just won't let you play them. You can.
It's a pound sign.
Yeah. I wonder. Hang on. I wonder if it'll let me do some form of outro. Countdowns, timers. That's it. Yeah. Right. We'll see you tomorrow. 12 o'clock UK time.
I'll do the outro.
Yeah. Right. See you tomorrow, 12 o'clock, guys. For the last episode, I think it's the last episode, the motorbike.
Thank you,
Bye,
gentlemen.
everyone. Hulval. Gary, shut up and say Hulval.
Hasta la fuego.